All right. Well, you'll have to excuse me for this. I hear this is a federal crime now. Um, so I don't know. But I do have to talk about a couple things. You know, we're all learning people, and we're all working to achieve better things and get to better places. And sorry, somehow I turned off my camera. I do that a lot. But yeah, actually, Al used to smoke these. Albert Einstein. Nobody actually called him Al. Even his family talked to him Einstein, Mr. Einstein, whatever. Father Einstein, I don't know, Ed Einstein, which I don't know, is whatever. But he also had some magical moments as a kid, and this is pretty cool, actually. Myself as a kid, and Mr. President, if I talked out of term, I apologize. There's just things that I mean, I'm human. I'm supposed to be a critical thinker. My job is to protect my children, and your job is to protect my children and the rest of the nation's children, domestic and abroad. Um, and we've already talked about what abroad is. Domestic, I mean, we are one nation, one people, all equal. So abroad would probably be a little further out, maybe even to our neighbors. We wouldn't yell over a memorial service. Hey, guess what they're going to do? They're going to, I told them they're building that wall and they're paying for it too. And then a bunch of people from Central America somehow show up. I guess we were letting people in the United States again. I don't know. I read the news. And, nobody told them that, there were stricter restrictions and such. And we kept locking people up and charging the federal government $700 a night for that, and only paying out $70 per person. And we've had our own U.S. citizens locked up. They talked about how they were treated. We've all taught our kids, or at least I hope. I mean, I was a single dad for about 7 years, a lot of it while working on this clean energy process. Um, you know, uh, yeah, I don't want to get into that really. Life can be tough, and my children's mother and I don't know. I hope we could be friends or friendly. It's been rough. It's been rough. I mean, and I'm not talking anything bad. She postpartum after my daughter was born, and you know, I married my bartender. I was a bouncer for a while. That comes with some of my harassment from the police department. One night, police showed up. I was the bouncer, not officially, but that was my job. Um, my girlfriend or wife at the time, she she was a bartender, and that's where I went. This guy didn't like the look of me. I wore Dickies, shaved my head, couple tattoos of flowers. I mean, my bad. I got to be a gangster, a thug if I got flowers tattooed on me, and wear Dickies and a wife beater tank top. Um, After work, take off your shirt and hey, you're kind of clean. And if you're out building all the schools and hospitals and you know prisons, jails, juvenile detention centers, all the other institutional learning facilities and such, as well as doing homes for humanity on your spare time, and just favors for friends. Not everybody made union wages. And after the housing bubble, what did it matter? People were getting loans on houses they couldn't even pay for, and the banks were giving it to them. Where'd all the, I mean, where'd these valuations go? I mean, who was making them? I don't know. It's kind of blinding, I mean, who was playing God then? Um, I don't know if God went blind or we all went blind looking at whoever was playing that God. And I'm sorry, that might have gone a little too far. I wasn't trying to go overboard, but a lot of people do. They do play God in their own vein. I mean, And as far as I know, the word God is synonymous with love. And, well, whenever there's an outspoken outcry against who you can love and such, I mean, cool. That would have been great if our president has an open relationship with his wife and she's cool with stuff like that, like a little more discretion probably as an adult, as a leader. I mean, I don't need to see that on the news with my kids. Although, yeah, I mean, I've had my own situations in my own life. I'm not perfect. My kid's mom's not perfect, but I'm not running for president either. Like presidential role, traditionally, had a family, a dog, a role model for what we want as a people, good family environment, family place. I don't recall us ever really wanting, we've had a couple guys in office, one, I get migraines if I don't get strange every day. And I'm not trying to say this, outlandishly, but his migraines went away one day. And his wife was sitting right next to him. And I have no wish for anything like that to happen to me for my children's sake, but it is my place to say something. Like it really is. This is my place to say. It's all our place to say. And, it is what it is. Some people thought it was great. Woohoo! Pimp holiday, players holiday. But I heard of a boys group. Epstein hung out with a few people. And, our president was one of them. And actually, I can't say everything that happened. I wasn't there, but I did read an article about 12 and 13-year-old models and massages. And one of the articles just got a little bit, I don't know, I had to stop reading. Like it sounded too grown up to be dealing with 12 and 13-year-old girls. And if I do remember those models correctly, like I remember a little while back, like before my kids and stuff, there were models, there were these little girls, they were all skinny and, they looked sick, wearing like potato sacks. And the only way I could put it is they looked like the ghosts of like internment camp World War II victims. And it was awful. I'm only painting the picture, or I'm only speaking the picture that was painted for me. And if these are the models that they were talking about in that article, like that kind of grosses me out, like it really does. My daughter, she's almost 14, and somebody touched her ass the other day at school. And, he's a kid, so obviously we don't need any names said out loud. I definitely don't need it happening again. I do appreciate one of her best friends stood up, and I do not promote it, but he protected her. Like he was a smaller kid and jumped up on the bigger kid and whooped him. And, the bigger kid, that's on his permanent record. He got classes changed and stuff, and hopefully it fixes itself, I myself typically let the woman take the lead. Like, that's just the kind of guy I am. I was always raised to be a bit of a gentleman, actually my first girlfriend that I had, it was me and some friends hanging out, and, she's beautiful. Actually, I don't know, she ended up becoming a homecoming princess. She was a little bit of a punk rock girl when she hung out with me. I'm a high school dropout, been working full time since I was 16. That doesn't mean I'm an idiot. It doesn't mean I'm dumb in any way. I'm sitting here talking, so I'm definitely not dumb. Which is weird because Dumbo, big old ears. In the cartoon he talked. And even in the newer version he made noise and he spoke in different ways, with smiles and the way he moved and this and that. So definitely not dumb. That's that. Dumb means you just can't talk. And, some people speak volumes. And, some people even put that image in their own light, you know, in mythology. An elephant was a cyclops. You know, it's got a nose big as Texas. Just follow me nose. It always knows, you know. But its nose is where an eye was. And that eye being so big and just a single orbit, like it had to be able to see into the future and know where we were going, I guess. But I don't know, you know, like yeah, my daughter actually does a moonwalk. It's awesome. Like my daughter makes me so happy. Actually, you know, and we all can follow our hearts too, and possibly that's what some of the testing is. You know, the test said that my daughter tests to be an artist, and my son, oddly enough, tests to be a like an accountant or a treasurer type thing. And in treasury, a treasurer, my son actually taught me this. You know, like we've been trying to start a nonprofit, as well as, you know, TDK, Talon Dad, Casey, tech. I mean, even a wood plane, it's technology. But, you know, I designed a clean energy process. And to patent that clean energy process, you have to identify the energy source. And, well, as far as I know, reverse engineering is not a patentable process. I mean, that's right there in the rules. And Stephen Hawking himself explains that with string theory, he kind of shoehorned the math to fit, but he was genuine and open about it. He was honest about it. He was a leader about it, you know. Yeah, he was a little arrogant at times, which is part of physics. You know, like there's a oh, what do you say? Like a quote or this back and forth situation. You know, there was a little person, I don't know, and another physicist, but they were going back and forth, and it was only because he was sitting on the shoulder of giants or standing on the shoulder of giants that he could do such. And dude was talking trash to a little person, but you know, a little person did pretty big things. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy. I mean, it's not crazy at all. I mean, Albert Einstein, a Jewish guy in World War II, offered the presidency of a new nation of Israel. But all of Germany's top nuclear physicists ended up right here where they needed to be to protect us, to protect freedom, to protect liberty, to protect justice, to protect our democracy and the republic for which it stands. You know, I mean, if I know what an understanding is, it's when people understand each other. It's an eye to eye. Now, if there's a bottom line, if somebody's atop that and everything else is under, I mean, that's obviously a simple division problem. I mean, that's math. That's simple mathematics. You know, like, I'm not an idiot. I mean, you can see simple things all over the place. You know, like, yeah. But I don't even know where I was. I just got to keep talking. Okay. I guess, well, I ended up in Sacramento hanging out with my best friend. He works for a co-op. We don't talk as much as we used to. You know, I've been working on this thing for 11 years. It's actually pushed me apart from a lot of things. But, you know, I've always been taught, you know, even if it's a religious concept, you know, that is where we get some of our fundamentals, you know, but I'm not really a religious person. I'm more of a person of the state of being, where we're at, myself and my family, and me and my children. Whenever, you know, I was dad and mom, you know, a single mom, also being dad. Dad could be mom. Oh, well, I don't care if I look like a boob. I don't care if I look like two. You know, a man has a bosom too. And, I mean, the science to that is simple as well, you know. and I've already explained it on some of my other videos on YouTube, but we all start out with double X chromosomes. And when an X loses one of its legs and becomes a Y, well, that leg pops out somewhere. But I mean, kids might be seeing this, and we'll let them figure that out. And some of the grown-ups probably, well, yeah, I mean, some of the grown-ups should know that too. I mean, that's probably why there's such a array of colors of people. We're all humans. There's only one race. Ethnicities. To, those guys that are all macho. And, guys that, I myself, I like cooking in the kitchen. I mess up a barbecue. Like I grew up with a bunch of aunts. I love the kitchen. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? What am I supposed to do? I don't like my tias so much that I'm going to pretend I'm not even Hispanic at all. No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I am Hispanic. Yeah, I'm from the U.S., but I mean, the census has its own rules. I think it's either a quarter or an eighth Hispanic, and you're Hispanic. If you're white and an eighth Hispanic, I believe you're Hispanic. If you're black and you're an eighth Hispanic, I believe you're Hispanic. I mean, I don't make these rules. Whatever you identify as is what you are, but for medical reasons and such, I mean, yeah, I guess that's important. Obviously, it's important. Yeah, so I picked up a book on Einstein. I owed a couple of days for my DUI I got before my son was born. I was still learning things. Yeah, I was older. My son wasn't born until I was 28. I do have a stepson. I love the kid. I love the young man. We don't hang out as much as I wish we did. It was hard. It was hard for me. And, I love you, kid. But, yeah, I mean, we grow. Sometimes, distance makes the heart grow fonder, and sometimes it heals wounds that we need healed so we can carry on. And, like my children, Talon and Casey, yeah, yes, of course, they're 16, and the other one my daughter will be 14 next month. But, no, like, my daughter told me, you could be my pet dad, I'll push you around in a wheelchair, just be my pet dad, and I'm cool with that, yeah, it's not like a goal in life, but if I can sit there and be around and watch my daughter do her job, and if and when she has children, especially if she has children, I'd love to be around my grandchildren. I love kids, that's why I do the things I do. That's why I try and cartoon things up. That's why I try and do things a little Disney-worthy, a little Looney Tune. I actually did another Looney Tune one. I don't know. I hope the Duck Dynasty guys don't mind. Like, I just wrote this one today. All right. So, now, a normal duck can just sit on water, and you're not allowed to shoot at a sitting duck. I mean, Duck Dynasty guys know that. Quack, quack. Actually, my family, we all got duck calls in our stockings one year. And, like a Daffy from Looney Tunes. Well, a loony bird, I believe it's still a form of a duck, but it can also dive. And it can fish. It's not just a sitting duck. And, say that these two stuck on a pond together, and I don't know, one of them's like, I'm King Duck, and just starts quacking off. It's a little sailor suit. I am the king of the top of the water. And the other one's like, well, cool, I can sit on top of the water too, but can you do this? And dives, catches himself some lunch, has a good time, sees goldfish, scoops it up, hope, and then, boop, gooses the other duck. And oh man, hey, Si, duck. And they sat down to dinner, and they gave thanks for the bounty and for all hands that they held, and all at the table, and all who could bring it to them, and all hands involved, including the hands that, sometimes the stories are about. I mean, they're lessons. We learn from good and bad. For real, I mean, I teach that to my children. I'm not perfect. I still have old people habits. I'm still a learning person. Me and my children's mother have gone back and forth with comments and such. And, I was hurt for a while, I know what a lot of single moms feel like, I was a single dad. It's hard. It's difficult. And she stepped up, she